Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating academic study that looks at the rapidly expanding e-commerce industry over in the United Arab Emirates. We are going to use this research to construct a literal blueprint for online business success. If you've ever sat there wondering what actually separates the massive online giants from the websites that just kind of sit there gathering digital dust, well, this explainer is going to give you the exact structural map you need to figure it out.
Let's kick things off with a pretty crucial question. Why exactly do so many e-commerce businesses fail, even when they have absolutely top-tier technology? You know, it's a bit of a modern business paradox. Think about it. Companies will drop millions of dollars building the absolute perfect website, integrating all the latest payment gateways, setting up these incredibly shiny digital storefronts, and then crickets, nothing. In fact, the researchers in this study noted that failure rates are actually rising in this sector, which is crazy when you consider how readily available all this advanced tech is today.
And I think this brilliantly illustrates the core realization the researchers had. Check out this direct quote from the study. IT systems alone aren't enough. That hits the nail right on the head. Building out your technological infrastructure, that's literally just the beginning. It is the starting line, not the finish line. If you're just leaning back and expecting your IT systems to do all the heavy lifting for you, you're missing the absolute most crucial components that actually drive business performance and ultimately customer loyalty. So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll cover core e-business capabilities. Second, the digital marketing catalyst. Third, we'll go inside the UAE market. And finally, we'll lay out the blueprint for performance.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, Core e-business capabilities, or as we're going to call it, the internal engine. Now, the study breaks down a lot of academic jargon, but it basically boils down to this. E-business capabilities are just the use of modern technologies to conduct your business processes in a highly efficient, integrated way. The goal? To reduce costs and gain a competitive advantage. I want you to think of this as the foundational horsepower of your online business. It's the literal engine under the hood. It's really not just about having a pretty website, it's about how smoothly your technology runs your supply chains, how it manages your inventory, and how it actively cuts down your operational costs behind the scenes.
The researchers pinned down 4 essential components that make up this strong e-business engine. Think of these as your 4 pillars. First up is supply chain visibility. That's managing how products move from raw materials all the way to your final customer. Second is service quality. This is your ability to actually meet or exceed expectations, mainly because the study points out that as living standards improve, quality has basically replaced price as the #1 factor for buyers. Third, we have e-marketing knowledge, which is your team's actual practical skill in using digital tools and managing relationships. And finally, e-trust.
Now, I really want to pause on that last pillar for a second because it is just so incredibly vital for online sales. The study specifically notes, e-trust is an intangible instrument that may reduce the uncertainty and complexity of e-commerce transactions. Just think about the very real, very human anxiety a consumer feels when they're buying from some faceless website for the very first time. Will this package actually arrive? Is my credit card information safe? Volatility and a feeling of losing control are just built into the DNA of online shopping, so your e-business capabilities have to actively build this trust to mitigate that risk. Usually, that means rock-solid secure transactions, totally reliable delivery, and highly transparent communication.
Moving right along to Section 2, the marketing catalyst, which acts as the fuel for our engine.
The absolute crucial point here is understanding the dynamic between having a great website and actually connecting with the very real people who are going to use it. On one hand, we have e-business capabilities. That's your internal infrastructure, your tech, the nuts and bolts. But on the other hand, we have digital marketing strategies. That's your external connections, your personalized communication, your brand image. Basically, digital marketing is how you tell the world that your engine even exists. You absolutely need the engine to run the business, for sure, but you need the marketing fuel to actually drive the customer to the transaction and create an experience they're going to remember.
So why is this external communication quite so vital? Well, look at this number, 5. That is the factor by which keeping current customers happy is less costly than going out and acquiring new ones. 5 times! That's huge! Digital marketing isn't just about shouting out into the void, hoping to find new buyers. It's about using personalized content and targeted relationship-based marketing to build deep, lasting loyalty. Because at the end of the day, a loyal, satisfied customer base is hands down the most cost-effective way to boost your overall organizational performance.
Okay, let's look at the real-world proof in Section 3, inside the UAE market.
Now, the researchers here didn't just guess or hypothesize in a lab. They went out and gathered empirical data from 135 actual e-commerce companies operating in the rapidly growing UAE market. They surveyed 148 managers in total, a mix of marketing managers and digital media managers. Take a look at the experience levels here. The vast majority of these folks have over 20 years in the workforce. These are highly experienced professionals on the ground, making tough strategic decisions, constantly balancing the technology with the marketing every single day.
Let's do a really quick rundown of the scientific rigor behind how they processed all this survey data. Step 1. They surveyed those 148 managers using a 5-point scale, basically ranking their agreement on different business statements from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Step 2. They extracted the specific variables we've been talking about, so e-business capabilities, digital marketing strategies, and overall business performance. And step 3, they analyzed everything using structural equation modeling. We don't need to get bogged down in the complex math right now. Just know that this is a heavy-duty statistical method used to prove exactly how these different variables cause changes in one another.
Which brings us to the grand finale. Section 4, the performance blueprint.
So, what's the verdict? What did all this data actually prove? Did having an incredibly slick supply chain matter more than a great digital marketing presence? Did trust matter more than the tech itself? Well, the researchers took all of those surveys, ran them through their statistical models, and generated a structural map of how modern e-commerce truly operates. Let's take a look at the blueprint.
Okay, I know this model looks a little bit like a complex puzzle at first glance, but stick with me, I'll be your tour guide here. This is the exact map directly from the study. See how your e-business capabilities, your service quality, your e-marketing knowledge, supply chain management, and e-trust are all grouped together? Notice how that central engine has a direct path pointing straight to digital marketing strategies. And then, paths from both the capabilities engine and the marketing strategies point down to business performance. The engine directly feeds the fuel, and together, the whole entire system drives business performance. It's scientifically proven. You literally cannot execute a great digital marketing strategy without the internal systems to actually support it.
Let's boil these core findings down to some clear, actionable takeaways you can actually use. First, e-business capabilities significantly influence your digital marketing strategies. Your internal tech is what empowers your external messaging. Second, digital marketing is what drives customer loyalty, satisfaction, and your overall brand image. It acts as that absolutely critical bridge to the customer. And third, the ultimate takeaway, you need both to survive. Technology on its own, it's a dead end without marketing acting as that bridge. If you only have tech, you have a massive, powerful engine with absolutely no fuel. But if you only have marketing, well, then you're just selling a promise that your company simply can't fulfill.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Take a good, hard look at your own organization, or even just the companies you personally choose to buy from. Is the digital engine fueled up and genuinely connecting with consumers, or is it just running on empty technology? It might be time to audit your own blueprint. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and until next time, keep optimizing.